18-year-old American teenager, Chloe, recently discovered a shocking secret that his mother seems to be poisoning him every day. Chloe was born into a single-parent family. I have been dependent on my mother Linda since I was a child. He had never met his father. I don't even know who the other party's name is. Linda single-handedly raised Chloe to adulthood. Due to the premature birth of the mother, Chloe, who was born with a deficiency, also suffered from asthma, many diseases such as heart disease and lower limb paralysis. His physical weakness prevented him from going out. You can only use a wheelchair to move around at home every day. Fortunately, her mother, Linda, took very good care of Chloe. Every day, not only remind him to take injections and medicine, massage his atrophied leg muscles. He will also set aside time to tutor him in his studies after work. Nonetheless, Chloe still longs for an independent life. See a wider world. Therefore, he kept studying hard. I also took the adult college entrance exam, but the expected college admission letter was delayed. This made Chloe feel lost. Her mother, Linda, saw this. I can only encourage Chloe to continue her efforts. Show him more care. For the selfless dedication of my mother, Chloe was always grateful. Until he discovers his mother's deepest, hidden, and terrifying secret. One day, Chloe came back from seeing her mother go shopping. I bought a lot of my favorite chocolates, since his mother usually strictly controls his sugar intake. The greedy Chloe then decided to hide some chocolate while her mother wasn't paying attention. During this process, he saw a bottle of familiar green capsules in his shopping bag, and this is the drug he takes every day, Diggle Zinc, specifically designed to treat heart disease. But Chloe was surprised. The label on the capsule had the mother's name printed on it. Chloe casually asked her mother, how could his name be printed on the medicine he used? After Linda heard her daughter's question, a hint of panic flashed across his face. But he quickly calmed down and explained that the name of the important person is usually printed on the label of the drug, rather than the name of the patient taking the medication. Chloe keenly caught her mother's anomaly. Therefore, he did not believe the other party's explanation. The next day, Linda went out. Chloe used a homemade improvised robotic arm to remove the medicines her mother had placed on the upper floor of the cupboard. It turned out that the label on the medicine bottle had been changed by the mother. Chloe somehow felt that there might be a problem with this bottle of medicine. Therefore, when taking the medicine that night, he deliberately hid it from his mother and did not take the green capsules he had to eat every day. Instead, he secretly spit it out. Then, while my mother was asleep, turned on the computer in the living room. I want to check online to see if this green capsule is a drug used to treat heart disease. But he soon found that the internet at home was suddenly cut off. Can't open the webpage at all. Chloe used to check the internet a lot for study materials. I have never encountered a disconnection from the internet. He suspected that his mother had noticed his abnormality, secretly cut off the network cable. This strengthened Chloe's determination to find out the truth. But he lives with his mother in a remote suburb. There were no neighbors. Plus, he has bad legs and feet. Never made any friends. Now the network at home is down again. Chloe could only take advantage of her mother's absence. Use the landline at home to ask strangers for help at will, with his continued efforts. Finally, a stranger agreed to help inquire about drug information, and quickly gave a query result that sent chills down Chloe's back. Diggle Zinc is indeed a cure, medicine for heart disease. But this medicine is basically the red pill, instead of the green capsules that Chloe takes every day. Chloe was extremely shocked by this. If you are not taking heart medication every day, so what exactly are these green capsules for? In order to solve the doubts in my heart. Chloe begged her mother to take her to a movie in town. Linda didn't think much and agreed to her daughter's request. In the process of watching the movie, Chloe used the toilet as an excuse to drive the wheelchair to the pharmacy opposite the cinema. This is where Linda usually buys her medicine. Chloe asked the clerk directly what kind of medicine the green capsule was. The clerk told him that it was a chicken relaxant specially for pet dogs. If people take it for a long time, they will experience symptoms of paralysis of their legs. In severe cases, they can even become paralyzed and unable to walk. Chloe was stunned by the clerk's words. Aren't my legs born disabled? Is it caused by long-term use of this green capsule? The question is, why is my mother, who has been so caring for me all year round, so cruel? How about coaxing your own daughter into taking this drug? Chloe's brain was in chaos. The intense mood swings soon triggered his asthma. Just as he was about to catch his breath, Linda came to me. The other party hurriedly injected Chloe with a serious injection machine on the grounds of alleviating the condition. Chloe fainted immediately. After waking up again, Chloe found herself lying in her own bed, through the window. He saw his mother just driving out, since it is not equipped with a mobile phone. The phone line in the room was cut by the leader again. Chloe could neither call the police nor ask for help from the outside world. Therefore, he planned to flee the house first. But when he came to the door of the room, he found out the door had been jammed from the outside by the mother with a wooden stick. Can't open at all. And his room was on the second floor. You can't jump out of the window either. After looking around, Chloe decided to take the plunge from the windowsill to the roof on the first floor, then climb up from the roof to the mother's room next door. The only question now is, my mother used to lock the windows of her room. Chloe had to find a way to break the particularly strong glass in the window in order to successfully enter her mother's room. Therefore, he dug out the electric soldering iron he usually uses to make him and put a mouthful of cold water in your mouth. Then I climbed all the way to my mother's window. Use a soldering iron to stick it hard on the glass. Wait until the soldering iron has completely heated the surrounding glass. Chloe sprayed the cold water from her mouth on the hot glass again. The glass mystery machine automatically breaks under the action of thermal expansion and contraction. Just like that, Chloe managed to climb into her mother's room. It's just that, after this operation, his asthma is back. Fortunately, at a critical juncture, holding back her discomfort, Chloe crawled from her mother's room to her own door. After removing the wooden stick stuck in the door and entering the room, he used the asthma spray in time to escape the disaster. When your breathing slows down, Chloe quickly climbed into the wheelchair, prepared to take the wheelchair lift downstairs. But he soon found out. The power to the elevator had already been cut by the mother. It seems that the other party is determined to imprison him at home. In desperation, Chloe had to push the wheelchair downstairs first. Then I tried to climb downstairs. As a result, he accidentally rolled down the stairs. And fortunately for us, Chloe just got a little bruised. The body is fine. And in the process, he was surprised to find that he could feel his toes. It must be because I haven't taken the green capsule in the last few days. It gave Chloe great courage. He then fled the house in a wheelchair. They arrived at the nearby road. Just at this moment, an uncle who delivered the courier happened to drive a truck by. Chloe stopped the truck. After listening to his account, the courier uncle immediately decided to send him. The police station just hadn't had time for the two to leave. I met Linda, who was driving back. Linda saw Chloe run out of the house on her own. Hurry up and negotiate with the courier uncle. He said his daughter was mentally ill, suffering from persecution, paranoia, often cranky. However, the courier uncle did not believe in Linda's death. He insisted on taking Chloe to the police station. Make things clear in front of the police. Seeing that the courier uncle has a firm attitude, Linda had to agree to let him take her away. Who knew that the other party had just moved Chloe into his carriage with the wheelchair? Linda took advantage of his unpreparedness and gave him a sedative from behind. The courier uncle fainted on the spot. Seeing this, Chloe had another asthma attack under the Peking Opera. He also fainted. When I woke up again, he found himself locked in an unfamiliar room. It looks like my mother's study, but Linda never let him into the room before she died. Chloe searched the room briefly. A college admission letter was found in the trash. It turned out that Chloe had already passed the adult college entrance exam. Only his mother hid his admission letter. Then, Chloe found a picture of herself running as a child in the drawer of the room. That means he wasn't born with a disability. His paralysis was indeed the result of his mother's long-term poisoning. In addition to the photos, Chloe also found a death certificate and a newsletter in the drawer. The deceased on the death certificate is also named Chloe. It was a premature girl who died just 2 hours after birth. The prosecutor's newspaper published a wrinkle of a newborn girl stolen from the hospital. According to these two items, Chloe suddenly figured everything out. About 18 years ago, Linda was born prematurely. Her daughter died tragically 2 hours after birth. Linda couldn't accept the fact. Therefore, another newborn girl was stolen from the hospital. The baby girl is now Chloe. In order to keep Chloe by her side forever, Linda did not hesitate to take drugs for a long time. Paralysis of the lower limbs. Unable to move freely. Chloe just figured it all out. Linda opened the door and walked in. The sleeves were still stained with blood. Chloe immediately thought of the courier uncle just now. He asked Linda if she had killed the courier uncle. Linda avoided talking about it. Instead, he said madly that no one could take his precious daughter away from him. With that said, Linda drew an injection of an unknown potion. I'm going to inject Chloe. Croydon sensed that something was wrong, hastily crawled into a cubicle in the study. Then he locked the compartment door. But this door obviously couldn't stop Linda's madness. Trapped in her cubicle, Chloe looked around, found that only some pesticides and fertilizers were stored here. There are no items that can be used for. In despair, Chloe thought of suicide by poison. He believed that Linda would not let herself die like this. Just as Linda broke in, Chloe decisively drank a bottle of pesticide. This scene really scared Linda. After he calmed down a little, she hurriedly drove Chloe to the hospital for treatment. Fortunately, the rescue was timely. Chloe saved her life. After waking up, he found himself with a breathing tube stuck in his throat. Can't speak for a while. So he had to gesture and ask the female nurse in charge of nursing to help bring pen and paper. I planned to write down the distress message on paper, but he hadn't finished it yet. The nurse was called away by an urgent call for help. The car is naturally made by Linda. After the nurse left, Linda pushed her wheelchair into the ward and took Chloe away. Chloe tried desperately to call for help, but because his body was too weak, can't make any sound. Seeing that Chloe was about to fall into Linda's clutches again, the nurse who had just left returned to the ward, found Chloe's unfinished distress note, and immediately contact hospital security personnel. Let them intercept Sheng Lingda. Security personnel immediately located Linda's location through surveillance. Then, at a staircase, stopped a picture of Linda who forcibly took Chloe away. Facing the gunpoint of the security personnel, Linda subconsciously drew a gun and counterattacked, but he didn't have time to pull the trigger. He was shot in the shoulder by a security guard. He fell down the stairs. At this point, Chloe was finally rescued, and Linda didn't fall to her death, but his leg was seriously injured. From then on, I was unable to walk. Police later found the body of the courier uncle at Linda's home. Linda thus betrayed life imprisonment at the end of the story. Chloe came to the special ward of the prison and visited Lingda, who was paralyzed in bed. Now, it's been 10 years since Chloe was rescued. He has long known his biological parents. And my legs were getting healthy again. They get married. They have kids. I have a happy family of 3. During this decade, Chloe would visit Linda in prison every once in a while, and they will bring each other a small gift. It's the kind of green capsule that can paralyze people. He wanted Linda to stay in bed forever, endure all the pain he has gone through. The story of this issue comes from the Hollywood suspense film Escape, which is released in 2020. The story is exactly the same as the American Pranks that went live in 2019. Surprisingly, this story wasn't made up by the writers. Rather, it is based on a real-world experience. It was based on an American mother named Dee in order to gain the sympathy of others. Fraudulent government subsidies and donations from enthusiastic people. He even forced his healthy daughter to take various drugs, and then created the illusion that her daughter was seriously ill. If the daughter doesn't cooperate, Dee would be beaten up. There's a term in psychology for this bizarre behavior of Imdedi called surrogate Munchausen syndrome. He refers to a mental illness that is fabricated or deliberately promoted. The illness of a relative or other person for the purpose of gaining sympathy. It is said that this disease is not uncommon in reality. Well, that's all for today's story. Friends who like Juani reasoning in crime movies and TV dramas, don't forget to like and follow. See you next time!